Buhari meets state governors over new minimum wage.
Federal government to sustain modernization of armed forces as 2018 International Air Power Seminar holds in Abuja.
PDP presidential candidate unveils his commitment to flag off his campaign as APC national chairman speaks on 2019 electioneering drive.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, our focus is on political campaigns ahead of the 2019 general elections.
Political parties officially began electioneering campaigns for presidential and National Assembly elections 2 days ago.
Of course, this is in line with the timetable, that's to say the schedule of political activities released by INEC for the 2019 general elections in accordance with the relevant provisions of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended.
True. Kingsley, the presidential candidates for the two major political parties formally launched their electioneering campaigns with the presentation of their policy documents.
Now, in the next 3 months, because of course the elections are taking place in February, the candidates are expected to crisscross the federation to sell their manifestos to Nigerians to convince the electorate to vote for them.
The governing APC tagged its campaign slogan, "The Next Level," in which the presidential candidate, President Muhammadu Buhari, said, and I quote, "The next 4 years will be quite significant for our country. Nigeria is faced with a choice to keep building a new Nigeria, making a break from its tainted past, which favored an opportunistic few. Our choices will shape our economy, security, and our future prosperity. Nigeria, more than ever before, needs a stable and people-focused government to move the agenda of our country forward. Join us on this journey to the next level of a prosperous, strong, and stable Nigeria." End of quote.
And similarly, the PDP candidate, that's former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, has also kick-started his campaign with the launch of his policy document entitled "My Plan to Get Nigeria Working Again."
Now, the PDP candidate said, and I quote too, "I believe in setting goals and coming up with realistic plans and policies to achieving those goals." End of quote.
Now, as the candidates, we understand that there are almost 17 of them, move about now with their campaigns. The electoral management body, just like the electorate, expects the political parties to conduct their activities in an organized and peaceful manner, devoid of rancor or hate speech.
Now, the two major political parties promised to make their campaigns issue-based. So, are they going to keep to their promise? Are we likely to see personal attacks and mere shouting of party slogans at campaign grounds, or focus the discourse on key national issues? Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live from Africa's largest television network, the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. I am Femi Okeowu.
And I joined my colleague Femi in also welcoming you to this edition of the program. My name is Kingsley Osadolo, and of course, on the course of our presentation, we shall have our regular companion segments, including newspaper review, business, sports, foreign, and others. It's a public holiday, by the way, in Nigeria, and we say happy Eid al-Maulud to our viewers in Nigeria and elsewhere around the world. But in the meantime, let's take the highlights of the morning news with our colleague Jumai Yusuf. Good morning, Jumai.
Good morning. Hello, Femi and Kingsley. Good morning, Nigeria. Here's the news. Sequel to the raging controversy between the organized labor and the state governors over the proposed national minimum wage of 30,000 naira, President Buhari has granted audience to a delegation of the Nigerian Governors Forum to chart a way forward. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the chairman of the forum and governor of Zamfara State, Abdul Aziz Yari Abubakar, led the governors to the meeting held behind closed doors. The meeting, which lasted about 1 hour, was also attended by Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige. Details of the discussions were not made public, and efforts by newsmen to hear from any of the participants proved abortive. It will be recalled that the Amal Pebble Tripartite Committee on the review of the national minimum wage has submitted its report to President Buhari, recommending 30,000 naira as a new minimum wage. President Buhari, while receiving the report, expressed delight that the committee successfully completed its assignment in a peaceful and non-controversial manner. He said the federal government would transmit and execute bill on the matter to the National Assembly for consideration within the shortest time possible. However, state governors have individually and collectively expressed reservation over the proposed national minimum wage figure, saying they are not in a stable financial position to pay. Meanwhile, the federal government has proposed to sustain efforts at modernizing the nation's armed forces through enhanced budgeting allocation in their quest to meet constitutional demands of protecting Nigeria's sovereignty and the territorial integrity. President Muhammadu Buhari made the promise at the 2018 International Air Power Seminar organized by the Nigerian Air Force.
Let me, as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, once again assure the military that I will continue to ensure appropriate funding for our armed forces in order to enhance capacity building and to deepen professionalism. We are also committed to ensuring that our armed forces are appropriately equipped.
In another development, the Nigerian police force says it will embark on robust and elaborate security arrangements to ensure adequate security and safety during campaigns and rallies nationwide. First Public Relations Officer, Acting Deputy Commissioner of Police Jimo Mashood, stated this at the force headquarters in Abuja.
He has involved other security and safety agencies in the state. It is co-chaired by Anek Rek. The CP of the command is the chairperson. They will look at area where deployment are being done and look at how to fine-tune all other action plans and security arrangements for a peaceful campaigns and a peaceful general election, 2019 general election as it comes in.
Still on the 2019 elections, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has started his campaign for the 2019 election with the unveiling of his policy document under the banner of his campaign slogan, "Let's get Nigeria working again." Atiku Abubakar says it can only be possible with the cooperation of Nigerians.
When I was Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, from 1999 to 2007, I chaired the National Economic Council. That gave Nigeria her highest and most consistent GDP growth of over 6% per annum.
Meanwhile, National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Comrade Adams Oshomale, has expressed confidence that Nigerians will return President Muhammadu Buhari to power in 2019. He stated this at the end of the National Working Committee meeting of the party in Abuja.
I believe we are still ahead in terms of internal peace. We reviewed the recent elections, and we are proud to be able to say that since the new National Working Committee was elected, we are proud that we have not lost any major election. We've done rerun election in Katsina and we won twice. We did one on Saturday, we won again. We've had a rerun in Bauchi for Senate, we won. We did another rerun of House of Rep last Saturday, and again we won.
Senate President Bukola Saraki has assured Nigerians that the kick-off of the electioneering campaign for the 2019 general elections will not in any way stall legislative activities at the National Assembly. He gave the assurance during a meeting with the British Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria, Harriet Thompson.
To reassure you, the public, will continue to do our best to see that certain of the key bills that are important to us will follow through. would not suffer. We'll continue to work through some of them. I think some of the bills you raised are some of our own key bills as well. These are all bills that were all initiated from the legislative arm of government.
That's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Femi and Kinsley after the break.
Unemployment, notably youth unemployment, features strongly in our party's manifesto. We intend to attack the problem promptly through revival of agriculture.
The 30K is going a long way. Actually, I bought an acre of land for 60K like 2012, and presently I have a cassava farm and a yam farm.
Reorganized, trained, and fully equipped, we are the new improved Nigeria Police Force. We fight crime. We bust syndicates. Whatever the crime, wherever the hideout, the Nigeria Police Force will get you busted. Stop kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, pipeline vandalism, and other criminal activities. Be productive. Be security conscious. Join the police force to secure your life and property. This message is from the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Department.
Team huddle.
But we lost.
Don't be tired, guys. This isn't a loss. It's a practice for winning.
Nothing makes a mother prouder than seeing her child growing up. But I know as he learns to lead, he'll face even more dirt, germs, and risk of illness.
That's why in changing seasons, you need strong Dettol protection. Because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
My name is D.K. Berry Charles. I'm from Abuja local government area, Anambra State. I'm privileged to be one of the beneficiaries of this Empower and Health. To be specific, I'm a graduate of Human Anatomy.
My name is Abubakar Musa Sufi. I'm from Kano State, Fagge local government. I study in Kano State University of Science and Technology as a food scientist.
Applied for the Empower program, but I was reluctant because of the way that things have been going in this country. You know, is based on who you know, based on favoritism, your godfather, or maybe nepotism, religion, and ethnic stuff like that. So when we went there in Fagge local government, it was not based on maybe religion or ethnicity, but it was surely based on merit. Once you have your credential on ground, you are good to go.
I must testify that it is free of any form of nepotism.
Kehinde suffers from indigestion. His twin Taiye suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around, or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts for up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action.
It's okay, I'm okay.
What happened?
It's just a little scratch, Mom. How can I play with bigger boys if I'm afraid of little scratches, right?
What comforts a mother most is to see her child growing up.
Done, I'll go.
Of course. But I know that as he learns to be brave, he'll face even more germs and the risk of infection.
That's why you need Dettol protection, because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Great to know that you are still there with us. And now we go to business news. A new lifeline for infrastructure funding has been lined up for Nigeria and other African nations under the African Infrastructure Investment Fund, with $40 million ready for disbursement. Let's join Comfort Amadou with the details.
Happy Idil Maulud. The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SUN, has inaugurated 4 standards on human resources. This is with the view to conforming to global best practices. Director General of SUN, Osita Abuloma, said the standards were in line with the stipulation of the International Standard Organization, ISO, considering that investment in human capital has taken a front seat as Nigeria joins the world to mitigate the effect of economic shocks. Nigeria now considers 4 out of the 11 ISO standards, and when fully implemented, would help build capacities and capabilities of the Nigerian workforce. And Nigeria is seeking areas of collaboration with the People's Republic of China to enhance cluster development, capacity building, and technology transfer and trade partnership beyond the fair. Chief Executive Officer of the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDEN, Diko Umaru, rather disclosed this against the background of Nigerians' annual journey to China for the International Small and Medium Enterprises Fair.
This is an opportunity for us to access markets all over the world. This is an opportunity to showcase the product of Nigeria and the technology, skills, and the services that we can provide in Nigeria.
About 25 made-in-Nigerian products were on display at the 15th edition of the fair, with over 3,000 SMEs from various countries in attendance. The 2018 edition featured China SME Summit and SMEs cross-border business matchmaking activity. In the meantime, revenue disbursement by the Federation Account Allocation Committee to the 3 tiers of the government hit 6.226 trillion naira in the 3rd quarter of 2018. The latest edition of the Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative quarterly review released in Abuja indicates that there has been a steady increase in the first 3 quarters of this year, with 2.28 trillion naira shared in the 3rd quarter of 2018. A breakdown shows that the federal government received the highest sum of 904.8 billion naira, followed by states, which received 718.5 billion naira, and local government areas receiving the lowest disbursement of 432.1 billion naira. And these are the closing figures of trades on NSCE on Monday, 19th. That's business news. I'm Comfort Amadou. Thanks for your time.
Comfort Amadou, thank you very much for the business package. Next for us now, we're reviewing the stories on the pages of some of today's newspapers.
Our newspaper reviewer, Bayo Atuebi, is already here with us. Bayo, happy Eid al-Maulud.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Femi. Good morning, Kingsley. Good morning, Nigeria, and happy Eid al-Maulud.
All right, we have some papers this morning, and of course, as to be expected, you have stories on politics on the front pages of the papers, and indeed also inside. Let's begin with the Punch newspaper. I will just run from top to bottom for the Punch newspaper. Above the nameplate, 150 telecom sites shot over Kogi State tax demands. 150 telecom sites, those are like what you call base stations. Details of that story can be found on page 28. Insurgency in Nigeria caused by politics. That's according to President Buhari. on page 12. And federal government targets 40% foreign debt in 2019, page 25. 30,000 naira minimum wage, governors keep mum after meeting president, page 10. And 2 earpieces beside the nameplate of the paper, sniper preserved bins were in real crisis, says Ogbe. Audu Ogbe is the Minister of Agriculture. Officials escaped death as fire guts EFCC office. Details can be found on page 12. Lead story, mixed reactions, great Buhari Atiku's plans. That's on page 2, and the riders are as follows. Civil society bashes Buhari and Atiku over campaign promises. Oshiomhole condemns PDP presidential candidate's agenda. And Atiku's document meets Nigerians' aspirations. That's according to the PDP. And other headlines there, Benue killings. State government masterminded my arrest, alleged Boko Haram suspect, Aliu Tashaku. Details on page 39. Ex-OAU Sex for Marks lecturer Akindele arraigned, remanded in prison. And Kwara by-election, 3 die, 5 injured in APC victory party. That's page 40. And EFCC arraigns Kano governorship candidate for 475 million naira fraud. And that's on page 10. And Dasuki to be tried in absentia. Page 39. And 3 arraigned for using Buhari's name to perpetrate 7.4 billion naira fraud. Details inside.
And now, I think, coincidentally, the sequence, the pattern of the cover page of New Telegraph follows almost the same as Kingsley just read out in the Punch. The top part of the page, the cover page, talks about telecoms, telecoms services, blackout looms in 10 states as revenue, that is New Telegraph, as revenue agency shuts 150 base stations. That story is already running from the front page, and it continues on page 8. Now, the banner story is on politics, and this is coming from Atiku. I will lift 50 million Nigerians out of poverty, says Atiku. That's towards 2019. And, the riders promises 2 million jobs annually, says he prepared for leadership. And then Oshiomhole says PDP doesn't have history of performance. Now below that, we have APC, pictures of some personalities in the Senate and in the cabinet. APC to sanction ministers, senators over litigation, and orders withdrawal of cases against party. Below that, we have thugs invade assembly. 5 lawmakers elect speaker, and that is in Akwa Ibom. Speaker declares 5 members seat vacant. Those are the stories on the cover page of the New Telegraph.
All right. Today is Maulud Nabi, the birthday of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The day is marked as a public holiday, and President Muhammadu Buhari has enjoined everyone to be peaceful, to be happy, and also to be in good health. He expressed hope that the atmosphere should promote harmony in the leverage of prayers and peaceful coexistence, particularly for the electioneering coming up next year. The Senate President, Senate President Bukola Saraki enjoined Nigerians to use the occasion to show love to one another and imbibe the virtues of perseverance as well as restraint. Speaker Yakubu Dogara also sent a message, and he enjoined all to replicate the virtues of honesty, righteousness, charity, and peaceful coexistence exemplified by the Prophet of Islam. The political parties are also not left out, particularly the lead ones, the ruling All Progressive Congress and the leading minority People's Democratic Party. They are all calling for peaceful coexistence. One says its recent hat-trick victory in the by-elections needs building up to the election. The other says Nigerians should not despair, as the nation is set to return to stability, cohesion, and economic prosperity. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has released a 186-page my document to get Nigeria working again. In it, he says, Nigeria needs a resilient and passionate leader that is ready to fight for the country. He pledges that he will hit the grounds running and will make bold steps, make difficult decisions, and also will be a good leader for Nigeria's future. He adds, I know it is going to be a lot of hard work, but there are no quick fixes. Within 18 months, he says he had worked and is expected to evolve plans that will move Nigeria to the right place. Now, the other report read by Kingsley is the alarm raised by the Minister of Agriculture. And this is concerned about the safety of some of the foodstuffs that we eat. The Minister of Agriculture has met with heads of rural development agencies and head of agencies in the Ministry of Agriculture about safety of foods. They have identified useful of harmful chemicals meant to preserve foodstuffs as harmful and some of them very poisonous. Minister Audu Ogbe says concerns have been raised about using of sniper to preserve beans. Not only that, there are others, those who use calcium carbide to ripen banana, mango, and avocado pears. People also use aluminium phosphate to control boll weevil that consume beans. Furthermore, there are preservations of chicken with using formaldehyde, the chemicals that are used to preserve carcasses. And all this, they say, is dangerous. And the challenge for them is that most of the farmers down the value chain are not aware of this. Similarly, the middlemen who purchases foodstuff from the grassroots and bring them to the market are not aware of this danger. And therefore, the minister says that officials and the agencies in the Ministry of Agriculture have a big challenge to work to educate Nigerians that some of these chemicals must not be used as preservatives for food.
Very frightening trend, Bayo, there. You know that farmers too now don't weed their farms either with the hose or cutlasses or they spread chemicals, herbicides to weed, to kill grass, and of course it affects the real plant, the crop that is being planted.
It's not just the plants, also it's a seepage into the soil.
Soil, of course, and the crops take their nutrients from the soil.
So,
and that
as
is
the minister said, this is a real crisis. It was a topic we have taken on Good Morning Nigeria, and one, of course, that will continue to engage public attention, because everyone, nobody is safe from this. Yeah. At some point, you will have to eat. Either you are eating beans or you are eating the fruit or otherwise, and the hazards are always there. So, public health consideration there. Now, let's return to the papers. This time, we're taking a look at the Daily Trust, page 5 of Daily Trust. Page 5 of Daily Trust, we have one story we are taking from there. It says, why service chiefs were seen at next level event. This rebuttal by the presidency, and part of the story, of course, which quotes the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, in an email saying that the service chiefs left before the event commenced. According to him, they were mistaken in their assumption that the event was a non-political event to showcase the achievements of the administration, the success of which they are a part. And that hardly were they seated down, the Minister of Defense asked them to leave as it was a political gathering. They left quickly, even before the arrival of the president, and for the event to get underway. That's from page 5.
That's a very good development, if actually they were advised to leave and they left. And that is very good, because they are concerned about some identified public officers, public servants, who either are in parastatal or ministry, sometimes coming out to make political statements. It becomes very embarrassing when you have a public officer that is supposed to be neutral in the context of the political interest in the nation, coming to make a statement that can be seen purely as partisan and political.
They call some of those agencies arbiter organizations. They are to mediate between all parties, so they are not supposed to be seen belonging to anyone. So,
and then if we return again to Daily Trust, page 3, there are other stories there. Don't interfere in 2019 polls, Buhari tells security agencies. And then below that it says Buhari promises adequate funding for armed forces. And police unveiled security plans for election campaign. Virtually, of course, it's the election season, so we'll expect those stories.
Let's go back to New Telegraph, and there are some news clips that we want to highlight. New Telegraph, as former President Goodluck Jonathan marks his 61st birthday, President Buhari says Jonathan is an inspiration to young Nigerians. That story is on page 5 of the New Telegraph. And Kingsley has highlighted this before, but that's a development from Dasuki's trial. Court approves trial of Dasuki in absentia. Generally, the law does not allow trial in absentia except in exceptional cases such as this. And then the sex for mark issue, ex-OAU Prof. Akindele remanded. And then the last clip there on the front page is FG records 100 billion deficit in 3 quarters and the third quarter. So those are the remaining stories on the front page of. But there is another one on the Telegraph below. Malaria infection rises in high-burdened countries. Malaria infection, page 33. That should be of interest to all of us.
Yes. Another story of interest, which I think is not clear whether it's there on the front page headlines, is a report of violence in Bauchi. The police in Bauchi have arrested 75 persons that were involved in Bauchi. Unfortunately, 3 persons were killed and 18 were injured. A misunderstanding was said to have occurred at a birthday party at Kusu area in Sakani in Bauchi, and it led to violence. The Sunday Sun reports that 2 men were fighting over a woman at the birthday party. Before you know it, youths at Lushi hurled stones at each other, and it turned into violence, and they set houses ablaze. The police public relations officer, DSP Kamal Abubakar, says the situation has been brought under control, and about 75 suspects have been arrested, and those involved will be charged to court because they will not tolerate any disruption of peace in Bauchi. The other story of interest also this time is about the media. Senator Shehu Sani has criticized the award usually given by media outfits to governors. He says, he observed that the media honors to governors started only in 1999. He says such recipients should not expect sympathy or solidarity from the same media if at the end of the day the EFCC comes after them when they have left office. The constitutional duty of the media, as provided for in Section 22 of the Constitution, is to, as agencies, to uphold the Chapter 2 of the fundamental objective principle of state policy, and also to uphold the responsibility and accountability of those in government to the people. Most often than not, some of these awards are not, so while some may be genuine, others are instigated. Oftentimes, it is said that it goes to the highest bidder. There is an instance whereby one will describe as beat agencies that operate almost like a cult also organize awards. The Nigerian Union of Journalists recently had to step in to dissolve and disband one of such awards. So it's a timely notice that the media should uphold the responsibility rather than dabbling into this award syndrome.
And it may seem to contradict, given a governor that is his people keep complaining about his non-performance. If he performs well to a media organization and he gets an award, that contradicts what his people say. I think the media should be circumspect when it comes to.
There's no against the fact that some of them are worthy of it, but then you are a neutral person in a political atmosphere. There's no need you mortgaging your interest to one and say yes, you are selected a few persons and then giving them awards. It puts you on the spot, and it's very challenging.
But then let's face it, who then, there are other ways. Sometimes people need to be appreciated. There are also governors or political office holders that need to be appraised and assessed and therefore appreciated. which organization will best be able to do that?
Non-governmental organizations. Okay. If you ask my opinion, non-governmental organizations, charity organizations.
Bayo and Femi, I mean, this has always been a controversial point. And as Bayo noted, it looks like sometimes when they are broke, they organize awards.
Media houses, that is.
Well, some of them. And the key thing is actually when you drill down to the bottom, you ask yourself, when you take a look at the memorandum of association and articles of association of the companies that run these media establishments, is their object, any one of their objects, the institution and presentation of awards for persons? So these are just ultra-virus actions that they are undertaking from time to time. And unfortunately, that's the way it's been. And your bio was also talking about the cartel you have in various beats that from time to time will organize these awards. Femi, you asked, you said, look, how best to appreciate? We are reading newspapers now. The only thing that belongs to a newspaper that belongs to the newspaper itself is the editorial.
The opinion of that
that is the opinion of the paper, and that is the strongest platform that a paper can use to appreciate any person who has done well. So, but when you now start organizing, as I said, when they are, some of them are broke, you know, they organize these things. It's part of where else does this take place? Now, it is possible for you to also say, look, part of a media establishment will do this, but there must be a department, or there must be an organization, part of your establishment, whose purpose is to organize that specifically. And then you have a board of trustees that will help you run that. But it is not those who are running the paper that, because you have all kinds of issues with regard to conflict of interest. You know, how then do you report faithfully, or how then do you hold somebody to account on the basis of your editorial disposition when you have already splashed him on your pages or on your airwaves that, oh, this is the finest governor, and in the meantime, every time you are having stories about what the person has done or hasn't done.
And talking about editorials, we go to The Guardian for today's editorial, and the media helping to drive decency in this year's electioneering. And The Guardian titles its editorial, 2019, Let Decency Rule. And let me, before I allow Bayo to make his comment, let me read this paragraph. These times indeed require politicians to address issues critically to the well-being of Nigerians and not unleash another reign of violence on a people who have borne a disproportionate share of violent attacks thus far. Should they need any reminder, Nigerians, politicians should know that their ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian.
Yeah, that's a very attention-catching catchphrase by former President Goodluck Jonathan, and says his political ambition is not worthy of anybody's blood, and that has become a word of marble for Nigerian politicians. The editorial, if you recall yesterday, we also highlighted an editorial that also harped on campaign, and there's no gainsaying the fact that there is anxiety in the nation that campaigns have begun, particularly presidential and National Assembly election, with effect from Sunday, November 18th. And the anxiety is that this time around, Nigerians want peace. And the editorial is happening on the fact that if the primaries of the political parties are anything to go by, then there is need and concern for alarm. And therefore, they are cautioning that the political parties should avoid division and divisive language, hate speeches, and not use abusive languages as they politicize or campaign for positions. They enjoy them to unfold their manifesto, discuss issues, and the subject of their campaign. He said that poverty is rampant in the nation, and they should tackle the issues of challenging poverty, unemployment, and the challenges that the nation are facing, rather than resorting to name-calling. He says that violence and the unleashing of violence should be a matter of concern for all political parties. Decency should be guided with a higher sense of patriotism. And the editorial is saying that politicians should do things differently this time around so that we can have a peaceful 2019 elections.
All right, Bayo, this is a matter that, of course, we'll keep returning to from time to time in the course of the election season. I'd like to thank you for being with us. We hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday, and Eid al-Maulud. All right, it's Good Morning Nigeria. We'll take a short break now. When we return, of course, our principal topic for discussion on this on the political campaigns for next year's general polls.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Fake news which is shared for malicious purposes is a danger to our peace and security in Nigeria. Misinformation as fake news is a serious threat to our hard-earned democracy and promotes hatred and misunderstanding between our communities. We are all responsible for stopping the spread of fake news in its tracks. So, always check the source and credibility of any news item. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Can I see your particulars, sir?
Officer, my particulars no dey here.
In that case, you'll have to come with me to the police station.
Officer, which levels? Where I for find you something make you take arrange your weekend.
What? Offense number 1, driving without particulars. Offense number 2, trying to bribe an officer of the law.
I won't harass Nigerians or take bribe. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Team huddle. But we lost. Don't be tired, guys. This isn't a loss. It's a practice for winning.
Nothing makes a mother prouder than seeing her child growing up. But I know as he learns to lead, he'll face even more dirt, germs, and risk of illness.
That's why in changing seasons, you need strong Dettol protection. Because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
All right, you're welcome back. But if you just joined us, it's Good Morning Nigeria, and we are live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Now, as a prompt for our conversation this morning, our correspondent Abdul Malik Adio sampled the opinions of some Nigerians on their expectations from the 2019 political campaigns. Let's listen into the views.
We are expecting a free and fair election because the man at the head of the affairs is a nice man, that is Muhammadu Buhari. So that is, we don't have any fear. He will not like any regions, he will not like to dance his image because of this election.
Actually, it should be a point-based campaign.
point-based campaign in the sense that we should know, tell us your previous achievement, maybe of the current government, and tell us what you can do further. Then the strong opposition, that is the PDP, let their presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, let us understand what he has for Nigeria to offer. And then from there, some of us can draw a conclusion on who to vote.
Well, what I can advise now, we are entering a political era and a political campaign period. So what I want to advise now is for us to be on our minds. We cannot go out of code of conduct of the Constitution of Nigeria. We can guard ourselves, our utterances, and we should conduct it humanly to all the candidates.
The campaign message that I will advise is, one, don't look at any candidate as a messiah. Because when you look at one candidate if you look at one candidate as a messiah, you may be surprised when he gets in there, he may not be able to deliver. But whosoever that is your candidate, pray for the person, that God will use the person to change the political landscape of Nigeria, to change the economic situation of Nigeria. I believe so much in prayers that whosoever your candidate is, if God is not behind that person, he will never succeed as the president of this nation.
All right, that's where some Nigerians expressing their views as to what their expectations would be with regard to the 2019 electoral campaigns. Let's now bring in our guests to begin discussing other aspects of this topic. First, we'd like to welcome Prince Martins Ebola, is National Coordinator, Buhari Oshibajo Mandate Group. Prince Ebola, pleasure to have you with us on the program.
Thank you.
All right, also here with us in the studios, we have Dr. Arome Salifu, who is the founding coordinator, National PDP Professionals and Business Group, and is also founder, Africa Youth Growth Foundation. Dr. Salifu, pleasure to have you with us on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Okay. Also in the studio, here in Abuja with us is Esther Uzoma, a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst. She is also an election monitor. You're welcome, Esther.
Thank you very much, Kemi. Femi.
Now, let's start by looking at what you think the atmosphere looks like. Is the atmosphere we have what you expected? Is it tilting towards a positive or a negative for the elections?
Thank you very much, Femi. Good morning, Nigerians. Well, the feel right now is Nigerians, let me use the Nigerian language, are gingered. The young people are galvanized. They are voraciously interested in the political process, thanks to the not too young to run the electoral constitutional amendment. And then for we, the masses, the stage is set. Everywhere you go, professionals are looking at documents. They're looking at statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics, for instance. They are looking at certain indices. One thing is certain, this is going to be a forensic political campaign process. It's going to be forensic. It's going to be fact-based. And so people are digging, looking at the books, both nationally and internationally, so that they will confront, the gladiators with these facts. It's not going to be, oh yes, oh yes. This is not, it will certainly not be a Maggi, salt, or Ankara, campaign. No. From all indications, it will be a forensic campaign process, and Nigerians are geared for it.
What has set the stage for, to use your word, this forensic campaign process?
Frankly, a lot of education. One principal thing, though, you cannot take away the huge influence of the constitutional amendment that lowered the age, to contest for elections. It kind of opened the door for young people to be involved in the process.
But did we see that? Have we seen that in the entry of the person?
Well, they are involved in the political process in an unprecedented manner. That's awareness. They are involved in an unprecedented manner. That is one. Secondly, the social media is so wonderful. The internet does not forget. People are bringing out, achievements of these political gladiators. They are bringing out whatever it is they have, you understand? So everybody is seeing it. And then again, there has been a lot of training. So these, for me, are the indices. Even though, regrettably, the space is getting, the Nigerian woman is being choked out of the, political process. But Nigerians are gingered.
Okay, let's, Dr. Salifu, let's take your opening thoughts. What are the ingredients that you think a healthy political atmosphere needs?
Okay, thank you so much for having me. First and foremost is the fact that the major difference we have between military government and democratic government is the power of the people. The power of the people to choose their leaders. The power of the people to either reject or appoint or recruit a new leader for themselves. And in that instance, the people have both the opportunity and the responsibility to get the kind of government they want for themselves. 2019 is yet another opportunity for Nigerians to make the right choice, to ensure that the issues that bother them while they go to bed are brought to the front burner, to ensure that their welfare and well-being are prioritized by political actors and leaders. The era where politicians could take the people for granted are over. Right now, the power of the people must be applied and applied well come 2019. And that is to ensure that they organize themselves to engage the political actors, particularly at the presidential level. And so, like never before, just like my colleague said, Nigerians are so organized, so formidable, so anxious to exercise their constitutional responsibility to vote their president, to vote their governors, to vote those that will be in the National Assembly to represent them. It is indeed a great opportunity that we must not miss as a people.
All right, Dr. Salifu, thank you very much. Let's bring in Prince Martins Abuola. Prince Abuola, what is your prognosis for the campaigns which have formally kicked off just 2 days ago?
Well, first, good morning, Nigerians. It's very interesting. Why? Because, you know what we all went through before now in this country. And for the past 3.5 years, a lot of great achievements that even myself, I couldn't even believe that President Muhammadu Buhari's government can go that far to really do all the great things that we have seen so far. So for me, based on all these things that the achievement I have seen for the past 3.5 years, I believe that the stage is set. The railway is somehow working, some are on the process to start working. Over 2,000 megawatts is added to our national grid just within 3.5 years. And trust me, the agricultural sector, it took just 3.5 years for a government to narrow his attention to agriculture, knowing fully well that the only way we can create more employment and improve ourselves is for us to first feed ourselves. It's not to import rice, import everything, even toothpick. That's not the way to go. So this government realizes that, and they focus their attention on, putting a lot in agriculture. And that's why you see now, even importation of all this, like my colleague, we were just talking before we came in here, over some of these chemicals. You can see now we have begun to produce some of even the fertilizer, that we are meant to use here. So the government is in the right direction, and it has set the stage anyway, and I know that Nigerians are wiser. Nigerians are already, like she said, a forensic election, that's what it's going to be. Right. So I will encourage all Nigerians to really sit down and begin to make research to see what all these leaders have done, and especially the great things that President Muhammadu Buhari has done so far.
Actually, my question has to do with what we would like to see, or what the trend would be. You've already started dealing with some of the issues. It says, what do we expect? Do we expect a civil campaign? Do we expect a vociferous campaign? Do we expect some tension? Should the people, look forward to heavy rivalry amongst the political? That's part of what the foundation that I wanted us to establish before we start going into the issues that will frame the messaging for the campaigns.
Yes, I agree with you. All I'm just trying to say, just for us to look at the picture properly. I know for sure that this country will always remain one, irrespective of what anybody tries. And I know that for us to develop, we need peace. And I know that also that this election will be, based on what have you achieved before. This is of a fact. It's not just going to be based on, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create 100 million jobs. When you cannot even create 500,000 jobs. So it's going to be based on facts. That's why. Prince
Ebola, is it safe to take our unity for granted and say this country would always be, remain one? That's why we should focus on what we do. Yes. Because you just say regardless of what anyone, we seem to be doing the negatives and expecting the positive. Now, this, for instance, this campaign is meant to drive people to do the right things.
Positive.
Yes, positive.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm also saying. We need peace to be able to excel all over the world. In Syria, they can't excel because there is no peace. In Libya, they are having issues because there is no peace. Even those who caused the problem, they have gone, they are dead, but their children are suffering it. So we need peace to be able to do whatever we have to do. And I will encourage the Nigerian youth, all Nigerians, that the first thing we also have to follow is to follow peace. Just like the Bible says, we should all follow peace with all men. So I think the first thing all of us should look out for is first, irrespective of your political party, let us love our brothers. Let us be our brothers' keepers.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Arome Salifu, what, in your opinion, will be the issues that will shape the 2019 campaigns?
Okay, thank you so much. You see, for you to be a leader, there's one conditionality, and that is you must be able to have a vision for your people. A vision, a picture of the preferred future you want to see for your people. And that, often than not, is encapsulated in the manifesto of the parties and in the manifesto of the candidates. Like what Atiku did through the social media yesterday. He has been able to present the clear picture of the preferred future he wants to see in this country.
What are the issues?
The issues, basically, are the issues of provision of good health infrastructure and amenities for Nigerians. The provision of quality education, learning and teaching environment for Nigerian students. The issue of providing security, because that is the #1 responsibility of every responsible government. Providing safety and security for the people. Ensuring that there is full security, that there is no hunger, no starvation, that we even kill people before their time in the land. Those are the issues. The issues of anti-corruption, the issue of making sure that corruption is fought without looking at the faces of the people, without any bias. So those are the issues.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Salifu. Now, Esther Uzoma, give us your own checklist of the issues that will frame the campaigns.
Thank you very much. Paramount for me will be the question of security. Now, look at what's happening from Benue to Plateau, from Nibo. Look at the mayhem in Kaduna. Look at the almost total collapse of our criminal justice system. It's crazy. Outlaws are calling the shots now. Outlaws. If you even, the people who survived nomination, for instance, in Delta, if they did it in concert with the, ex-militants. This is where we are. And therefore, one thing that whoever is coming must address is that, listen, can we even have the violence, the monopoly of violence? No, the state has been demystified. Hello? The violence, that monopoly of violence of Nigeria, the statism in Nigeria has been demystified. Number one, can we have that sanity so that we are sure that, listen, this state protects me? Look at what is happening in Bayelsa. How many commissioners of police within 1 month? What's going on? So you have that sense of, things are never before in the history of this country. Have we come, in all the fights, have we come to the verge of near total collapse of security apparatus? It has never happened before. We now are saying officially, say bandits say, listen, bring 50 million, otherwise you won't have your children. What's going on? That sense of Nigerianness, the demystification of the state's monopoly of violence, we must restore it, otherwise. That is number one, security. And secondly, we want a leader who will inspire us to patriotism. We want somebody who will say, oh, so when I sing the Nigerian anthem, there are people who sing their country's anthem and they cry. Where is that? Where have we gone? Nobody is inspiring patriotism in the Nigerian youths. You kind of get the impression, oh, leave those people out there. So can we have a leader that will galvanize us? Can we have a leader that will harvest our diversity? Can we have somebody, a gladiator, who will be so inspired? Give us that inspiring speech. Today, Obama's "Yes, we can" is still resonating. Don't we have speech writers? Or don't we have leaders who will speak from their hearts? So where are those people? These are the things so that, number one, you must galvanize us as a people. Security, you must give us that, we must believe first. Because if we don't believe, we'll not be galvanized into action. Somebody has to drive us.
Esther, this is sounding like an agenda setting for the campaigners.
Oh, definitely.
Fine. Now, Prince Abuja, how can these points that she has articulated, I'm sure she has others, and you can see the way she's speaking, how can they be free? How can they be I wanted to say canalized into the campaign agenda so that they are not just seen as empty promises, I will provide security. But she ticked off a number of things. You have seen the rise of non-state actors. This didn't happen yesterday. It's been a gradual process. You have also seen the rise in kidnapping. Kidnapping has been on for several decades. So how would this be framed as, as I said, matters that the electorate will say, okay, fine, of the so many political candidates, many presidential candidates that we have, this is the gentleman who appears, or this is the lady who appears, to be in a better position to help deliver the goods on those issues.
Oh, thank you very much. First, I think one of the things we need to face first is the truth. I think the time has come for us to start telling ourselves the hard truth, even if it pains. And the hard truth is this. We as Nigerians, we as individuals, what are we doing? Everybody usually refer the word government. Who are the government? Are we not the same people who are part of this government, all of us at home, in the kitchen, in the restaurant, in the bank, do we really show any patriotism that we love this country? I will give you an example. A few days ago, I almost wanted to cry because I ran into a video of these Shia Muslims, and I saw the general begging, please let us pass, because they don't want to really confront them. And I posted it on my Facebook, and somebody replied immediately and said, condemning Nigerians immediately. This is not Nigeria, this is not blah, blah, blah. All kinds of, even condemning. One condemned the government, that they should have shot them. The other one said this is a zoo. The other one said let us, different,
What I'm saying is, Prince, Femi, gentleman, lady, see, we know that there are issues that Nigerians are concerned about. And now, these Nigerians are the ones who are going to vote. Yes. Now, how will the political gladiators harness and entice the voters and say, look, we know all of these issues, this is what we are going to do for you?
And what he's saying, the example he's given is a typical pointer to the need for leadership.
That's right.
See how divided those opinions, based on those you're posting. See how divided you are. Yes. That is why we need a leadership that galvanizes, to use her word.
Whip up patriotic sentiments.
Creates a direction. So now this electioneering campaign, how can Nigerians use this divisive position you have just highlighted to pick a leadership that would show us a direction?
How do you do that when the opposition at all time, when the opposition at all time tries to create a lot of things? What I'm just trying to say is, for us as Nigerians, we also have our role to play, apart from the leadership. This is what I'm saying. We have our role to play. We need to talk to our people. All the political parties need to talk to their people. We need to, have a direction that this country is one country. We cannot kill ourselves because of an election. We have to know that we are one, and we have to believe that irrespective of where you come from, we are one. It's not for somebody to sit somewhere and instigate people and then post it on social media. We all have responsibility to keep Nigeria alive. And that is what I think all those who are running for an election, including even local government chairmen, governors, state House of Assembly, House of Reps, Senate, and the President, should focus on, irrespective of your political party. This is very important. It's not just the job of one man as a president. It's the job of everybody who are involved in this election. This is what I'm saying.
Okay. Prince Abola, thank you very much. Femi,
now,
I think let's leave the question of issues, because political campaigns have many facets. We can make assumptions. We have heard of preachments of saying, look, let there be no hate speech, let there be no violence, but one can. I mean, if you can prepare a draft article or a draft paper of what will unfold in the coming days, in the coming weeks, and even in the elections and so on and so forth, and you are unlikely to be wrong. So how then can the appropriate agencies and indeed the citizens begin to prepare for this? For instance, there will most likely be pockets of violence. And then how do we expect those issues to be tackled, particularly with regard to the role of the security agencies? Let's begin again with Dr. Arome Salifu.
Yeah, I think truly we have an uphill task ahead of us, particularly against the 2019 elections. We must understand that we have two sides of this challenge. We have the side of the leadership and the politicians, and we have the side of the followership and the people. On the side of the leadership and the politicians, we must learn to play politics by its own rules. We must learn to play politics without bitterness. We must learn to play politics without excessive, desperation. You understand? Politics, democracy, is about the popular wish of the people. You win, I mean, some people win and some people lose. That is on the side of the leadership and the politicians. On the side of the people must understand that they have the greater say and they have the bigger power on the negotiation table right now. And that they should not allow themselves to be used and their attention diverted from the real issues.
People will be used. Yes, that's the point we are saying.
So
yes.
what will security do?
Yes, so, they will be used. There's no doubt about it. We have seen what has happened, yes.
So now, the security agencies on the other side must ensure that there is that confidence, there is that trust that they will do the right thing. Because what we have seen over this last 1 year or so is that the security agencies have clearly taken side at critical moments. In almost, all elections in the last 1 year, you see security agencies taking clear side of the government in power. And that again,
what proof do you have?
No, we have seen it in Ekiti, we have seen it in Osun, we have seen it in several instances. But one thing is this, the only way the people...
Ekiti was see and buy.
Well, that is another conversation altogether. But if the people must have confidence in the security agencies, they must be seen to be truly unbiased, they must be seen to be truly, credible and fair to everybody that is involved in the political process.
Now, how do you determine how fair the security? When there's a violence and 6 people are arrested.
Yes.
No.
I mean, how?
We're even going too far.
Yes.
In Ondo, we issued statements, very strong statements, against the disruptive tendencies of security agencies. We issued very strong statements.
Ondo, how long ago was that? Which election?
No.
Ondo?
I mean Edo.
Oh, Edo.
We were in a stakeholders meeting with the INEC chairman, preparing for elections. And a policeman shifted the election date. That was disruptive. I said we issued, and then in Osun too, we also issued, Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room issued a statement. Yaga issued the statement. Disruptive tendencies. No. You know what happened in Osun too? Hang on. We are talking about the role, because this is a critical, this is the most critical, the singular most critical factor in this election, the attitude of the security agencies. Okay? In Osun too, all right, observers were arrested, even though they had their accreditation tax. All right? Now, we are also questioning, for instance, this present IG. Has his tenure expired? Will it be renewed and gone?
You can't compel his appointment. That's
no. What I'm saying, it has security implications.
Let me give you a direction. Just as the 2 major political parties launched their policy documents, just yesterday, the police came out with its own direction too. No. Can you fault the direction which
security
the police came up with?
It's not just the police. When our dear president was launching his campaign, service chiefs came. That is a security. If I were running in that election, I would say why.
It's been cleared. They left.
Hang on. It is after the fact. Wait now, let me finish. It is after the fact. That's a clear violation. There's a prohibition in the Electoral Act for use of state apparatus. And service chiefs, you will come in. Service chiefs also include such apparatus. No, but even though it has been cleared, it was after the fact because somebody raised it. What were they doing when the whole world knew that the president was flagging off his campaign? Do you know what it means for our service chiefs to be present?
No, but Esther Zoma, it was one of the stories we actually read from the Daily Trust this morning with regard to the reaction of the presidency to the presence of the service chiefs, that they assumed that it was just a question of the administration showcasing.
They assumed the function they were attending?
No, just hang on.
That's even a security breach.
No, just hang on. I mean, the president, hang on a second, Esther. The presidency has clarified that. The PDP itself, that's a spokesperson for the presidential candidate of the PDP, had raised the issue, and the presidency has also clarified it. But some of the Prince Amola, the issue of the role of security agencies. I hope we are not jumping the gun. I'm coming to you. I'll give you the opportunity to speak, because some of the we're looking at now virtually at the end of the electoral value chain. They say, look, on the day of voting, we're looking at campaigns. Well, that's our focus. The process, when we're talking about some of the things that you will expect as a given, violence. Look, in 2015, President Goodluck Jonathan, as incumbent, was stoned in Bauchi State.
That's right. And nothing happened.
No, not he was commander-in-chief. So, how do you forestall such things? What role do you expect of the security agencies? If there are persons who foment trouble, what should be done? What should be the preliminary things to do in terms of providing security? That's part of what we are looking at in the election, rather than when the time comes for voting. When the time comes for voting, God willing, we will also return to that subject.
Well, I think the first thing we have to understand as Nigerians, please, let us give some credit to our security agencies, for God's sake. Under the circumstances that we are in this country, bring Secret Service from the United States or Great Britain, they will be able to do nothing. We should support the security agencies. We should appreciate them for even risking their life. Both the SSS, DSS, both the Nigerian police, they are doing so well. And we are giving them little or no credit at all for their job. My advice, my take, is that Nigerians should cooperate with the security agencies. And I think people should leave the IG alone. Okay. He's doing his job, and we should all we can do now is to cooperate with them, to pray for them, to appreciate them so that they can do more. It's not for people to just assume that we're all alive in this country in the past administration when military men were used, even in Ekiti. Hell did not fall. Opposition did not take advantage of it to put Nigeria on fire, But still, this government has refused to do that. And people are just looking, the opposition are trying all they could to make sure that they create something that will make the people hate the security agencies. But that is not true. The security agencies are doing so well. The IG is doing extremely well. I'm not a policeman. I don't have any family in the police. But the security agencies are doing extremely well, and I think we should cooperate with them.
Talking about the process that would lead us to the election proper, things as mundane, if you call it mundane, as venue of campaign can cause using of a stadium, using of a venue. What can be done? Because now states have all parties, APC, PDP, So if every state says, I'm going to assert myself and deny the opposition, another state can do the same. What can we put on the table to ensure fairness? Let me come to you in this regard. All states have all parties have their states. How can an opposing state party allow fairness, even as placed as a venue of campaign, to ensure that these people are being even-handed across the board?
I think the first thing is for us to follow the rules. Follow the rules. One of the rules is apply to the police. They have information. They know when the security situation much more than what any of us, no matter, I'm not a policeman, but they have their own intel. The DSS have their own intel. So they know when things will happen and when things will not happen. So I think that is the first. And secondly, and most important also, is for us to have to love this country and to love ourselves. And to just have the mind that this country is just one. And we need to safeguard this country irrespective of our political party. Those who are in one party today, tomorrow they will go to another party. So let us save this country. We cannot be a Nigerian today and be a Togolese tomorrow. But you can be in one party today and move to another party tomorrow. For us to have a secure process before the election, this is very important, we must cooperate with the security agencies. We must cooperate with them. We cannot cooperate with armed robbers. Yes. Just like she has said, that in the South, that some of the ex-militants, are we going to now, if we hate the police, are we going to ask the ex-militant to protect us?
Prince Amola, yes. Thank you very much. The issue, again, to return to what Femi asked, I would like to ask the other two guests, beginning again with Esther. We're talking here about access in the course of a campaign, access to venues for rallies. You also have access to the media for ventilating your messages and so on and so forth. The question, therefore, is, we have seen instances where there has been denial of use of state facilities, particularly stadia or grounds. What should be the recourse of persons who are denied such access, or indeed, what should be the preliminary things to consider so as to forestall such untoward practices? Because it's likely to happen anyway.
Yes, thank you, Kingsley. So let's now talk about the ideal then. And the ideal will be, like my brother said, like Prince said, follow the rules. The Electoral Act prohibits, parties, or prohibits any station for that matter, not giving equal time to political gladiators, political parties. So you cannot give party A, like 1 hour, and then party B comes, you say we don't have airtime. NBC will bring out their sledgehammer. That is the ideal. All right? But what then obtains? That is what it should be. But what obtains? You cannot guarantee. For instance, before the last administration, we saw platforms that were used with very strong language, even on the edge of defamation for campaigns. We saw that. All right? But NBC, we expect in this time, that let all parties have equal access to the extent that they can pay. Let venue be made available for all parties to the extent that they can pay. Okay? But however, the truth of the matter is that campaign, the mainstream media really will play a great role, but the fireworks will be in the social media. That is where the fireworks will be. And
those ones don't balance.
Exactly. That is where everybody is there. Everybody is a producer. There's so much news flying around. That is where the fireworks will be. Believe me, that is where it will be. Now, there's one important thing, very important, on the question of security. What we have now is, we have states having their own, in quotes, states vigilantes, sponsored with state money. And then we also have the Nigerian police in existence. What these state vigilantes do, they execute judgment as the pleasure of the chief executive officer. So look at the haywire, look at the chaotic environment, particularly when elections come. You know what they will do? We have the Nigerian army presently in occupation in about 26 states, but we are not at war. That is where the security issues. Let me tell you, these security men that have states, they are past state laws. So they have them, they wear their uniform, but they are not the police. If you see the justice they administer, if you see the justice, it's a huge concern come 2019. But we expect...
So a huge concern in what respect now?
Because they execute the pleasure of the chief security officer. So if you are in opposition...
In that state.
Oh, yes.
So that to some...
And studies from clean farm, yes.
Yeah, and some would say that will call, therefore, for eternal vigilance on the part of all. If your rights are violated, be sure that, you can enforce your rights. And we do hope that it then doesn't just become a case of mutual assured destruction.
Exactly.
Balance of terror. Balance of terror, as the case goes. But Dr. Arabe Salifu, let's get your take on this. As we have said, on the issue of access in the course of campaigns, access to venues access to the media, we have seen, usually at the state level, instances where, state-owned media organizations often play hanky-panky, in denying access to those whom they consider to be the opposition. What should be done?
Very good. Of course, we have to reject that in totality going forward. That is not acceptable. The truth is, our politicians have refused to learn. Our politicians have refused to change. Our politicians believe that politics is a do-or-die affair. And they use every means whatsoever within their powers to manipulate and to subvert the processes, including the privileges that people are supposed to have, regardless of your political party or affiliation. The access to venue issue is something that every political actor should look at it from the standpoint of, I could be the one, tomorrow. If you are the governor today and you are denying the other person access to venue, remember that it could be you tomorrow because you are not going to remain in power forever. You understand? So when you want to manipulate and you want to have your way just because of your personal political interest, always remember that the table could turn around and it could work against you. So the idea truly should be that we should play politics of sportsmanship, politics of jolly good fellowship, politics of, mutual acceptability and tolerance, politics of understanding the problems and the issues that the people are faced with, as against manipulating the natural processes and the natural opportunities and privileges the people are supposed to have, including the opposition. So I feel strongly that going into 2019, the political parties, the governors, and the candidates, that is the political gladiators now, should look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture of the kind of country we want to have, the kind of society we want to build. Because, you see, any action you take today, it has ripple effect tomorrow. Because even the younger generation are emulating those actions. Is that the kind of society we want to, bequeath to our younger generation? We must look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, well, that exhortation is fine. But when it gets to the reality, what should be that's my question. What should be the recourse for those who are denied the opportunity or those who perpetrated? Well, all right, we'll take a short break now. When we return, of course, we'll take some of the viewers' reactions by way of tweets and also return to our guests.
Brought us as usual.
As usual. You have no problem.
For the three
you are welcome, sir.
As usual, yeah?
You take that one. You take that one. You don't understand? We want Nigerian homegrown rice. Finish. You don't have? You don't have?
Join the rice revolution today.
No other rice that tastes like Nigerian rice. Are you sorry? That's the Nigerian rice we are talking about. Chocolate made in Nigerian rice. Healthy food. I'm going to bring Mrs. Momo to come to chocolate rice made in Nigeria here. And see how it are made. Correct. And how they are cook it. Correct. Homegrown rice are good for your health. It boosts our economy and give employment to our people.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we are discussing election for 2019 and the campaigns. That's because if we get the electioneering process right, then there are more likelihood that the election itself will be right. And we're looking at how all the interested parties can do the right things and solutions to the situations if the wrong things are done. And Nigerians are already making comments on Twitter, so we'll take some of the tweets. And let's start first from Odinebo, who says, so far so good. It has been fantastic both on social media and papers. But my question is this: can you people organize a debate for these men and allow Nigerians to ask them questions, even if it is here on Good Morning Nigeria? We really need to hear them speak.
All right, now Frank Montana tweets, now politicians should see politics as a set of activities for running a government, an organization, or a movement. It must not be seen as a do-or-die affair. It is pertinent for all Nigerians to rebuke and detest any politician who preaches hate.
We are still stuck in the 9th century campaigning strategy, so says DW Nigeria. How can political parties keep campaigning without a clear-cut ideology or strategy to execute? Republicans and Democrats are known for whatever they're known for, but in Nigeria, they keep recycling the same old jargons.
All right, this is coming from Annie Sham. It says, forensic issue-based campaign should drive the electioneering and for the purpose, ultimately, for inclusive governance and confidence in the Nigerian state. And
Mona Kawanchi, I think, okay. It's yet another season of tactics, strategies, and promises in our country. Nothing new, actually, but we are up for it. We are really ready for it. Politicians should remember that it doesn't end here. There is a supreme being above who watches and monitors.
All right, those are the tweets that we have in the meantime. Let's return to Prince Martin Ebola. You were itching to say something before we went on the short break.
Yes, like you mentioned earlier about what can we do if we get to the situation whereby one party wants to use, what is available here, something that belongs to the state, and because you're in the opposition, you are being denied and all. I think INEC can also play a major role in this. We can all be fair to all the political parties, but the good news that I know we have is that Nigeria currently have a president who will never, even the opposition will agree with me, that the President Muhammadu Buhari is a man who will never do such a thing. He will never deny any of the political party the opportunity to use even where he wants to use.
President Buhari does not approve venues.
No, I'm just saying, what I'm just trying to tell you is that we are referring to those who can pull the strings, either in the state and all that. That's what we're saying. Okay. So President Muhammadu Buhari is a man that believes in fair play, and we all know that. So, and I think also that in the various states, the governors, either APC or PDP, should also be fair to all concerned, should also give that free opportunity or that opportunity to the other party so that they will have that sense of belonging, they will have the belief in the system. But INEC can also play a major role by, calling all these parties together, talking to them, and telling them what, they're expecting from them. I think this will also help.
Now, let's, so far, one of the tweets said, so far, so good. The newspapers, in fact, possibly because of the way the documents, the campaign documents were launched, everything looks beautiful for now. But when the soapbox, when they get onto the campaign venues and begin to, it would seem to me that campaigns, physical campaigns, gathering people now, have become like a music carnival now. Are those campaigns used to address some of the issues we have talked about?
Those campaigns, they're jamborees. You hardly hear, the only thing everybody is in agreement with is the music playing. You know, everybody dances to it, you see. So those that's all that gathering and all that, no. Something, and you find out at the national level, there's a sanity. But when it cascades down, that's all hell is let loose. The crowd that goes for A, the rallies in A, they're the same people who also collect money for B. You understand what I mean? Yes. Because no political party, as at yet, have shown us their register of members. It's just, you know, hello. They come for A. Maybe if A is paying 10,000, they go. But if it's on the same day, they attend the one who is paying the highest. Rent a crowd. So all those gathering, you know, it's just, that's not where it happens. Where it happens, and what people should actually watch for, particularly the parties that are coming up, watch the use of state vehicles to convert people. It is an electoral offense. Just tag or hang on to it and see to it. You know, the law doesn't work if you don't work it. Yeah. Just say that, listen, I saw this party A using local government vehicle to convert people. Just take your pictures. It's an electoral offense that can actually disqualify a candidate. So just hang on to it. Yes. So
if that is an offense, using a vehicle, yes. can we've just finished talking about access to the media.
Yes.
Can that, an uneven platform,
yes,
can
it's
that
also an electoral offense.
Yes.
It's also an electoral offense for media houses.
Okay.
It's an electoral offense. So, you know, there's so many things that, particularly the parties that are coming up, they can use. What about election spending? Can you just monitor it? Do it. And then you bring the force of the law, which is merciless, to bear on any party
who is to monitor it now? Because I am a candidate, I am busy campaigning, wanting to get votes.
Yes.
So is it?
Who should monitor the spending?
Yes.
Civil society. No civil society. Ordinarily, the security agencies should. But because a party is interested, is running for office, I think it's an easy way to dislodge opposition. Monitor, if the law says the president should not spend more than $1 billion, watch how much is, just document what is going on. You build your case and insist on it. The law will help you. If they say don't use vehicles of state and then suddenly they're using it to convert people, document it. The law will help you. It will not suffice to say, oh, nobody's there using up. Where's your evidence? What will you bring before a court of law? You see? So if we do these things, I'm telling you, these are small things that can be done by individuals. Even though civil society is monitoring the campaign spending of all the parties, heads will roll because there's imprisonment as penalty. I'm telling you. So let us walk the law. That's why I said it's going to be forensic.
All right, Esther,
yes.
Thank you very much. Now, one of the challenges that we have always had in our polity, especially with regard to presidential elections since the Second Republic, is the inability to properly track campaign expenditure. Right. This is, some would say, it's an uphill task, but right. Are we likely to begin to claw at the problem and then be sure that we overcome it going forward? Dr. Salifu.
Yes, truly, this is well enshrined in the Electoral Act. I think it's more of a principle than, you know, a reality in terms of its enforcement. The truth is, in all our elections, tracking of election spending has been, rather an uphill task for all the stakeholders. INEC on one side has that responsibility. Civil society on the other side equally has that responsibility. Individuals, ordinary Nigerians, equally have that responsibility. But in tracking campaign spending, it takes a lot of resources because it's more of an investigative tracking because most of the spendings are not in the open. So you need a lot of resources to be able to effectively do that. Then the second part is even the enforcement. If you have your information, verifiable information, reliable information, and you have a window to address the issues that are generated by the tracking results, where are you to go from there? You go to the, you go to the courts.
Yes.
And the capacity of the court to address those issues is another challenge altogether. And the willingness, the capacity and the willingness, because you see, in most cases, our judiciary, runs in such a way that the political actors, have mastered how to manipulate even the judiciary.
I disagree.
To a large extent, and we have to really build the capacity of the judiciary to understand the issues and how best to address those issues when they come to them.
All right, thanks a lot, Prince Abola.
Well, I'm happy. There is the issue of funding came up. I'm very, very happy. Why? Because we also saw what happened in Port Harcourt. And because they are the opposition, nobody will make anything out of it. Of course, you campaign before you are being elected into other primaries or whatever. You campaign is all part of the campaign. So this happens. But like he has said, some of them are very smart. So they always have a way. But the truth still remains the truth. If we all can begin to report these things,
yes.
And that is where our role as individuals comes in. If you all can begin to report all these things, I think we will be on the right track. But for one thing that I know, if you sell your tomorrow today because of 4,000 naira, your children will suffer for it tomorrow.
Now it
doesn't matter what you think today. The rice you are giving today will not sustain your children's school fees tomorrow. And that is the reason why, going forward in this 2019 election, we should run away from money politics. Pay me and let me vote you. If we can do that, we will be able to take the right decision. We'll be able to do the right thing. And those who are into, we have to use money to buy everybody, I think the time has come they have to stop these things. Because it's not even helping their children. Because if you alone make all the money and your children in all the jeep cannot survive, few people in the village. So how do you survive that?
All right, Prince Abola, let's pause you in the meantime. Femi, yeah, go ahead.
While we are still interrogating this election funding, one of the easy loopholes that we see is when they talk about donations. There are posters flying around now, and we all know that most of the political parties now have their campaign organizations. These posters do not come direct from the campaign organizations. They come from individuals that just donate them. Tracking election funding has been difficult because they will tell you this person did this. It's not in the main box. It's not in the box of the election political parties. How can that be monitored?
The law provides a limit to the fund and to the limit, a limit to how much an individual can give. An organization. Yes, an individual and even an organization. And it's very easy. In the light of Freedom of Information Act, you just, for instance, it's a given. There's a range that NTA charges for, adverts. Yes. So if you run 20 of those adverts, somebody can guess the amount of money spent. Even though NTA refuses to say, they won't give, but it doesn't do that because it's a responsible public organization. So it's easy, particularly in the light of the Freedom of Information Act. Failure to comply with requests is imprisonment.
Okay, Esther,
yes.
Still staying with you, we had seen in the past what some persons would refer to as obscene fundraisers.
Yes.
Considering the current mood in the country, are we likely to witness that in the 2019 political campaigns, where you organize a fundraiser and people are falling over one another to pledge 1 billion, 2 billion? 10 billion, XYZ. Now, assuming that doesn't take place, what are the likely sources of funding for the political gladiators?
Obscene, the era, you know, Nigerians are still, the gospel we are preaching as civil society is gradually trickling down. Particularly in the era of the debate, you know, of minimum wage. And believe me, people are going to watch. There's a debate, so how much will the Nigerian worker be paid? These obscene fundraisers, of course people are going to watch. I'm telling, as we speak, I know some of my colleagues who are already pinning it down. That's why I say it's going to be forensic. The outcomes will surprise everybody. Now, in the light of these happenings, you see, they will come. However, the truth of the matter is, what will I do as a Nigerian? When in a state that is owing salaries for 6 months, 7 months, an individual comes and say, I'm giving 2 billion. First of all, you can't do that. The law says you can't give 2 billion. So we will provoke the law.
If he doesn't make the pledge publicly, can he do that secretly?
If they outspend, there's a limit to what a political party can spend. No, it's very, very clear. There's no... You know what happens? The law is powerful. It will look dormant until you decide to provoke it. And then it becomes a huge problem. And then people will start negotiating behind, you know, the courtrooms. But it's very, very, and it's merciless. So, this time around, all these obscene people who will not pay, and then you're coming to show how you love this person, you want him to succeed, I give you, you give me back. It will not work. Particularly, let me tell you, people will even lynch such people.
No, this is not the first campaign will happen. People have donated, nothing happened.
No.
What makes you sure that
this time around?
Something...
because so much has changed. We have an INEC that is responsive. Look at the quagmire Zamfara State is in. We have an INEC that is holding, and truly, the president said, listen, INEC, do the right thing. Don't concede anything to me.
See, Esther, well, thanks. Let's again talk about something. There's often reference to the body language of the leader at the top. We have seen, of course, what President Buhari has done and is still doing, what President Goodluck Jonathan himself did, and the example that he set. Of course, that is also referenced in the birthday message that the incumbent sent to his immediate predecessor. Yes. But how should we respond to the foot soldiers who sometimes, you know, operate at a tangent, you know, from that of the leader at the top? I mean, President Buhari composes himself and conducts himself. He has shown that it's not a do-or-die affair. He wanted to be president. He has been, and he's president, and is still on. But Atiku isn't the same person. The same way you will find isn't the same person who would say, "Look, go and kill." The other presidential candidates would do that. But it is the foot soldiers who would say, you know, this is the way to go. Can we see a situation where the law actually takes its course? Because when people misbehave in the course of elections and electioneering, they often get a slap on the wrist.
You see, the law will not work. Let me just briefly. The law will not work if we don't work it. That is the truth. Look at the unprecedented number of convictions that INEC got in Kano State. The law will not work if you don't work it. So it is incumbent on me to say, this is the person who caused this violence in this campaign, you know, arena. There's a punishment for it. I'll take that person, you know, we must be involved in the process. And that is why I said in the beginning, we need a leader who will inspire us to be involved in the Nigerian process.
Yeah, just like you said, you see, in this instance, we have different actors. When you talk about electoral offenses, the security, agencies have their role to play. Because INEC itself will not be the one to identify and arrest the culprits.
Right. That's right.
The security agencies have a bigger role to play in this instance. And then you have a situation where INEC, would be exposed to helplessness, where security agencies fail to act. And then you have on the other side the role the people, the citizens, are supposed to play. Where you see, somebody clearly violating the rules and the laws, as citizens, you identify, isolate that kind of person and hand over that person to the security, agency or agencies, so that the security agencies could, from there, with INEC, be able to prosecute that case. These are logical processes that must be followed if we must handle and tackle that problem holistically.
Now, instilling order in the society, if we had made that a program, at election times, we will just fall in line with that. How much are we getting the effect of the general disorderliness of our people, the society? Everybody just doing whatever he likes, which is also taking a toll on the fight against corruption.
That's right.
Okay. Well, first let me appreciate my dear sister here. I'm happy that she also agreed with me that President Muhammadu Buhari has always made himself available, and he's not a man who wants to play double standard, and that's why you can see him telling INEC, look, don't swing anything on my side, do the right thing. The same thing he has done with the INEC is the same this man called President Muhammadu Buhari has done with the police, with the DSS, all of them, because he doesn't want anybody to take side. And that is why you see that they are doing what they are doing. Like I said earlier, we need to cooperate with the police. This is very, very important. We need, everybody we need to see them as our friends and our brothers. Because if you cooperate with them, you can be able to go to them and tell them this is happening here, please. Now, if they don't react, thank God you said social media. You see a lot of things that has been reported. So it's easier for us to showcase all these things if they didn't respond. But so far, from Lagos to Kano to Port Harcourt to everywhere, Nigerian police has been so fantastic. Even if some few people will refuse to give them that credit. They have been so fantastic. And I think that going forward, they are still going to play their role. And they are not going to take side. Nigerians should know this for sure. Nigerian police is going to play a role that they are not going to take side at all. From all what we have seen, they are not going to take either side of APC or PDP or any other political party. So Nigerians, we should all cooperate with the Nigerian police and the DSS. If we have any information that could help us to stay out of trouble, let us go to them and inform them this is what is happening. And I'm sure they are going to cooperate with us.
All right. Prince Martins Ebola, would like to thank you and indeed the other guests for being part of our conversation this morning. Prince Ebola is National Coordinator of Buhari Oshibajo Mandate Group. Thanks a lot for being around. Dr. Arome Salifo is Founding Coordinator of National PDP Professionals and Business Group. Dr. Salifo, thanks a lot for being here with us. And also appreciation to Esther Uzoma for her insights. She's a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst, and also an election monitor, a guest we frequently have on Good Morning Nigeria to discuss election-related issues. All right, so that does it for our conversation. Let's go over now to our sports desk.